Hey, y'all, and welcome to day number 48 of the third annual WSOP Daily Spaces coverage in the longest running poker space. I'm Sherry Pluskota, aka Peaches, and I'll be your host today. And some other folks will be coming in and out as the day goes on. I started a couple minutes late this morning. It's easy to get sidetracked these days when you get on Twitter with all that's going on with crazy Kassouf, but here we are. We will definitely get through this together. Many thanks to my sponsor, Elevated Results. If you need a tailor made workout plan to help you lose weight or gain weight, Elevated Results can help with that plan. Follow them on Twitter or check out their site at elevatedresultspt.com. You can find the recordings of all my past spaces as well as the interviews I did at the poker.org lounge on my YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212. Please subscribe and like. It's free of charge. I'm just trying to catalog my spaces because Twitter, or X as it is now known, does not promise to keep those recordings forever. And I would hate for, especially those great interviews to get lost um, in the future. So that's why I started putting them on a YouTube channel. Be reminded, we always try to give the most updated and accurate information possible, but we are human and make mistakes. So please make sure to double check any information we provide to ensure yourself the best experience possible. And when we make a mistake and you figure that out, please let us know so we can correct it for everybody. We want to make sure everybody gets the corrected information. Appreciate that. A couple of things right off the bat. The Venetian put out a tweet yesterday that their cash games are going to come to a halt at 11 o'clock or just before 11 today because they're expecting large turnout for Flight 1C of their 5K WPT Championship. Those cash games will reopen as soon as they get enough tables and dealers to get that cash game or those cash games up and running again. So I'd imagine probably by 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, just guessing, those cash games will be back up and running. So that is what's going on at the Venetian. Also, come play with me in Malta. I'll be there hosting an event on October 31st, but the series starts with some satellites on October 25th through November the 3rd. Um, you know, the Malta Poker Festival will be going on during that time, so check out their pages, their social media pages, and if you need help finding out more details, just DM me and we'll get you some more information. Welcome, John. Welcome, Exec Deck. How are you guys today?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Doing good, Sherry. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's hard to believe it's day 48, but yet, thank God, it's almost over. It's been a long summer for sure, and I appreciate everybody that tunes in every day or listens to the recording in the future. Appreciate everybody. Is we're always excited to get started, and it's always an emotional ending because it's been a long summer. So it's been a great summer thus far. And we certainly have had some fun and great experiences. And you know what? We've also had some sad times as we've lived through firefighters being targeted and the floods in Texas and everything else in between. So has definitely been a long summer, high in emotions and also low on emotions. So welcome, ASG. How are you, bud?
Doing all right.
Good. Glad you're joining me today, as well as everyone else that's here. I see Bear's here, Patricia, Sandy, Joy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to make mention for Team Spacers. Ras got us 38 points in event number 89, and Race New York got us 1 point in that event. We barely moved up, though. because we really at this point need some big points, although 38 points is not nothing to be ashamed of for sure. So with those 39 points in total, we broke 1,000 in points in our fantasy league. So we have 1,016 points. We are in 125th place, and there are out of we're in 125th place out of 873 teams. Of course, we have to be in the top 10% to be in the money. So we definitely need these last couple of tournaments to be chock filled with our our Team Spacers members, so we can get some points and maybe slide into the points. Which it's been interesting. We've been in the points all summer long, except like the last week and a half or so. So we've really been doing great this summer. So hopefully we could slide back into the points and into the money. So that's what's going on with Team Spacers. I guess we need to get into it. Oh, wait, one more reminder. Safety deposit boxes at the WSOP have to be emptied by 5 p.m. tomorrow, July 14th, or they're going to be drilled and you're going to lose your deposit. So empty your safety deposit boxes before 5 p.m. tomorrow, folks. That's at the WSOP. Just wanted to remind folks about that. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that main event and our friend Will Kassouf. Uh, it's been a long few days, mostly because of Will, right? And, um, it's sort of a double-edged sword for me because, content creation, leads us down the path of we need will on those tables, those live feed tables to get clicks and viewers, right? That's where your Poker Go folks are coming from. That's where your PR folks are coming from. And so they put him on that table. And of course, he acts like he normally does, or even maybe even worse because the camera's continuing to be on him. And a monster's created. Then all of a sudden he gets booted from the the WSOP for acting exactly what for exactly what they paid for, so to speak. They kind of created the monster. If you don't want him to act like that, don't put him on TV. Not that that's going to stop him, but I think it was a heightened acting class because of it. So anyway, anybody got any comments on that? I am upset with the way he left the table when he lost, calling people horrible names and saying really derogatory stuff. And, it's definitely not what I want to see in poker. It was ridiculous. And he, is a poor excuse of a leader in poker. So, Sandy Joy, welcome to the panel. If you have something to say on the matter, you go right ahead. Click. There you go. Oh, uh-oh, we lost her. Maybe she's having tech issues. I'm not sure. John, did you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, I guess. I think the biggest problem that we are running into with Kassouf and why it's such a big story is there's really two camps in poker media consumption, right? You have the casual fans who grew up on ESPN and the edited and the drama and the characters, which you need. You need characters and you need some drama for the narrative to make it interesting to casual fans. And then you have the poker fans who are there for the strategy and the whole thing. And really the Kassouf thing destroys one and proves the other. So depending on your perspective, you're going to have strong feelings about it, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's why it's such a big topic. My big issue with him as a whole was he wants to play his game, right?
Right.
Quote, play his game, which is the speech play and putting people on tilt and making them struggle to make decisions, which fair enough. Like I'm not like that's a strategy. I'm not even gonna like say it's terrible
Right.
necessarily, but when people flipped it on him because they found the button to push on him that sent him into a complete meltdown, then he wants to play the victim. And I have a problem with if you want to do something yourself one way, you can't be angry when people return that type of action back to you. And I would say that both sides were completely within the rules. So it's just it is what it is. That's my biggest issue with Kassouf as a whole. Like I don't like his antics. I wouldn't want to be at his table. But then him playing the victim when he got the return is where I dislike it even more, really.
Right. And for me, for those that tuned in yesterday, for me, it was they let it go on too long. It should have been nipped in the bud the first day. And in my opinion, it wasn't because they wanted clicks and viewers. He violated so many of the, the etiquette rules, which we went over yesterday, that it could have been nipped in day one, but instead it was allowed to go on. And guess what? As we all know, like a little kid, when you don't correct them, it gets worse. And that's
Well, that was one of my comments too. Because you guys know I work with teenagers a lot. They want to argue the rule when you try to enforce it, right? Like if you say, this is the rule, we're going to enforce it. They want to argue, argue,
yeah,
argue, and if you let them get away with that argue, they're just going to push back to the rule again until the limit, until they argue and get their opportunity. And if you continue to allow it, they're going to continue to push, and that's what
yeah,
happened with Kassouf. It just needed to be squashed or much earlier because his actions and demonstrations when he was arguing, let me make my point, let me make my point, let me, it
right,
reminded me so much of the teenagers I deal with every day.
absolutely,
When I'm like, put your phone away, you can't have your phone out during class, and they're like, but I was talking to my mom or I was texting, and I was like, you can't have your, it's
right.
just you have to start with the enforcement. And I'm not a big fan of rules in general. Like I don't like I'm kind of anti-authoritarian, really, but like there are rules for a purpose on a lot of situations, but you have to stick to them.
Well, and you you can't have it both ways, right? So when he's breaking the rules, you have to discipline him right from the start, but you can't let him go for 3 or 4 days. That's what, 10 hours a day. And then on the last day, oh, you're banned now for the rest of the WSOP till next year. When in fact, you didn't nip it in the bud to begin with, and you let it get to this point. And so to me, both sides are guilty to a certain extent. What?
I agree with that 100%. Well, I do question how much was it being promoted by WSOP versus how much was it being promoted by the content creation companies. Like, and I love Poker Go and I don't want to talk trash to Poker Go, but like, who's like, and like who's promoting it versus who's just dealing, that's behind the scenes stuff that I don't
Of
have the
course.
answers to,
Well,
but I think it's a consideration.
yeah, and like I said yesterday, Poker Go staff in the booth are clutching their pearls, saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing that, or he said that, or what a jerk," or whatever comments they were making, like they were surprised. No, you guys helped orchestrate this, so you can't act surprised now and clutch your pearls because you're getting exactly what you wanted. And I haven't watched the whole stream because I actually fell asleep pretty early last night, and I actually didn't even see him in his last hand until this morning when I went back to watch part of the replay. But you can't have it both ways. Sitting clutching your pearls when you had helped to create it, and don't think of me as the viewer as being stupid and not figuring this out either, and insulting my intelligence. So, you could just say something like, "Well, I guess we made a mistake here in thinking this was good for the game. It's great for content, but it's not good for the game of poker." I don't know, but I don't like the trying to, how do you say it, walking on both sides of the fence or whatever. And I'm just going to reread the number 70 etiquette violations for those that missed it yesterday, and I did post them. Etiquette violations are subject to enforcement actions in Rule 71. Examples include, but are not limited to, persistent delay of the game, check. That's my added verbiage. Unnecessarily touching another player's person, cards, or chips. Repeatedly acting out of turn. Maintaining poor card or chip visibility and accountability. Betting out of the reach of the dealer. Abusive conduct. Offensive hygiene, and excessive chatter. I can see three things in there at least he could have been penalized for on day one and wasn't. And then it just grew and grew until it got out of control, um, like a kid in middle school. And we can't only blame him, although 90% of the blame goes on his shoulders. That 10% of why was it allowed to go on so long is to be blamed also. So, ASG, you have any comments?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just wasn't handled well all around. As kind of been said, I think they kind of made up their own rules. I don't see anywhere in the rule book that says if you excessively tank, we can give you a 10-second time to act. You know, it's one thing to give penalties for excessive tanking, which I think should be done more. But it's another thing to now say, oh, you're on a consistent 10-second clock, which I don't see anywhere in the rule book of
You're right.
you're allowed to do that. And I don't think some of the floor staff, I don't think Jack acted professionally as members of the WSOP or whatever, in terms of like how you should be acting as a company, even if your customer is being a jerk. When I worked even retail, if I acted like jerk back, that was not allowed. So, you know,
Can I make a comment on it? I agree with you in most cases, but there are people that until you match their energy, they're not going to listen or respect what you say. So I feel like that might have been the case in this situation, but again,
yeah, I know it's hard, and yeah, I also know it's hard to act professionally back, but yeah, I think the way some of them and um, uh, especially Jack, if you're gonna get involved, like then going, oh, if you follow me, I'm gonna, or I forget exactly what he said, but that was just like weird. I don't know.
Well, and let me just interject for a minute. I expect the employee of any company to always be a leader and take the high road, no matter what the customer is or is not doing. I expect that from a paid employee. I don't care what level of paid employee they are. And for example, when um, Bob was telling him that he was being, when he got out and Bob was telling him he was going to be escorted out by security and couldn't play anymore, even during those moments, it wasn't a like conversation explaining things to this customer of, hey, Will, we appreciate you playing, this summer, but some decisions have been made and this is what's going to happen. A, you're no longer allowed to play any more events in this WSOP. B, you are banned from, properties or not. I don't know if that was part of it or not because he really didn't explain it for X amount of time. You can come back and play next year's WSOP or not. Like how long is the ban? Does it apply to circuit events, all properties only in Nevada? Nothing was really, it was just sort of like, hey, you're going to be escorted out now and you can't play anymore. And so for me, I would have liked to have seen like, hey, Will, I need you to listen for a minute. And this is what's going to happen. We appreciate you being here, but your behavior has led us down this road, blah, blah, blah. Here are the consequences,
I think they tried to do that though, and like just because I was watching the stream live, I think they tried. They said, "Walk with me this way, and we'll discuss it. Walk with me this way, discuss it." And then Will kept arguing, right? He kept arguing his same points over, and I see he's like, "I'm trying to tell you, walk with me this way, and we'll discuss." And then when he kept arguing, that's when he just had security step in and say, "Now we're going to walk this way." And then they took the very neutral, "We're just going to take you over here," and they didn't listen. So I do believe they tried to take that route. Um, Away from the table. They tried to escort him away from the table so they could explain it, and he wouldn't shut up long enough to let them do it.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. Um,
And like I said, I could be wrong, but that's just my take on
no,
watching
I
it
think that's a
from
fair assessment.
And
I
the
think that's
perspective.
a fair assessment. I just think that anytime he was approached, even though he was argumentative, instead of returning that same attitude, we should have been more about as soon as you're quiet, I can explain to you what's going to happen. As soon as you're quiet, I'm going to, I mean, just like a 5-year-old, as soon as you're quiet,
Right, very
I'm going to
much. But
explain to you what's going to happen.
his personality and the way his style of arguing is very much like one of the, and I'm sure we've all seen it. He wants to be heard and allowed to finish his sentence, but then he doesn't want to allow anyone else to finish their
Right.
sentence. And that
Right.
was so it got to the point where they're like, we're gonna have to move you away from the table. We're gonna have to move you out of here so we can continue the tournament.
And I'm going to
Also,
tell you something. Sorry. I'm going to just say one thing to that. I think him being allowed to stand at that table yelling names at those other players went way too long, and that should have been stopped way faster. And I mean, when I say stopped, Bob should have just looked at security and said, "Get him out." And he should have
Well,
been
it
removed
did.
immediately. That went on way too long. And they needed to get that resolved away from the table faster. And honestly, if they would have had security physically move them, I would not have had a problem with that.
I give credit to security for trying to de-escalate because they really did try to de-escalate without getting physical. And I mean, I do think they should have stopped the clock. I think the tournament should
Right.
have paused while they de-escalated. So that part could have been handled differently. But I commend security for being as patient and calm as they were in that situation. Because if I'm
No,
in that
I'm
spot, I'm
just
just
going to
going to
tell
grab
you,
him and
he
move
should
him.
have just, when he was standing there calling those other players pussies and stuff, no, that's enough. That is enough for me. Go ahead, ASG. You were going to say something.
yeah, I just wanted to speak earlier. The term. I think the most ridiculous book though was personally was I think it was he got a penalty, but something happened with the Kassouf much earlier in the day yesterday. I think it was when he got his first penalty, and then they immediately cut to. I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember his name. Some pro in an 8-minute tank with one chip behind.
Oh, and that's, and I spoke about that yesterday. We have to be evenly handed when we're disciplining, so to speak, right? It's not one set of rules for this person, another set of rules for another person.
But then again, you get leeway when you don't do it. Like I don't like. First of all, I hated the one chip tank. I think that was stupid, and I think that should be gotten rid of right away. But if that's the first time you're tanking forever, you're going to get more leeway than someone who's done it 100 times in over the last 3 days. It's the same with discipline anywhere else. Like when someone's a repeat offender, we don't give them the longer leash. So I agreed with ASU that it looks bad in a vacuum. It looks really bad, and I do wish they would get rid of the tanking one on the bubble or pay jumps, whatever. But I don't see these as exactly the same issue.
And I do. And guess what? Shot clocks will get rid of all this nonsense. Welcome, Dana. Did you have something to add?
Oh, I have been thinking all morning about it and even lost track of time before hopping in on the show. Um, I agree with you that, name calling and that kind of thing crossed the line, and I hated to see him lose or walk away without grace. He could have handled being busted at any given moment with absolute grace. I think he's playing his game constantly with the operators. He doesn't draw his own line to walk away. When he's away from the table, he's Will Kassouf, but when he's at the poker table, he's Will Kassouf, the poker player. And then you can use your psychology and your banter and stuff. And it just got way too heated.
It was too much. It was too much. And again, I would have had no problem with security coming and just, I'm not saying rough the guy up, just get over there and say we need to move and move him out quicker before he stood there for 5 minutes berating the other players. And they're trying to play a hand because the clock hasn't been stopped. Like, no, this is bullshit. Go ahead, Bobby. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Uh, I would love to say that it's an even playing field for everyone as far as penalties go, but it's just simply not the truth. People have gotten banned for saying, come in and blow all these people away or something like that, and have gotten banned, full bans forever. Meanwhile, Helmuth, who I love and adore, is my favorite ever, says he wants to burn this fucking place to the ground in front of everyone who was watching the stream that night, and nothing happened. There's definitely not a level playing
Right.
field as far as people go. And his uh, Will's behavior, I think, is much akin to like a Draymond Green. He's got a reputation. He does it repeatedly. So when things like that, you're going to start getting the shorter and shorter fuses for the floor staff and the dealers and the players and all those things. When they see it happen multiple times, you're a repeat offender. So that's going to happen more and more often. So it sucked to see him kind of completely lose his shit at the end and,
I agree.
complete. But he'll be back next year, I think. I don't think they're going to give him the full ban or whatever. They're just banning him for like the last 7 or 8 events, whatever the hell's left this year. I think Will be back, and I think he'll be back on TV next year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, they need him for ratings, of course. Yeah, they need him for viewers. Exec Deck, did you want to add anything, buddy?
Oh, not a whole lot. I'm enjoying listening about this, and I definitely enjoy watching and the entertainment of him there. But I think it's a really pathetic poker strategy when you gotta just talk and talk. I mean, I get some table talk, but too much is just too much. And it's like, listen, play your cards, play poker, and this isn't a shouting match. It's a poker match, And but it's certainly entertaining. I'm clicking the hell out of it. And if he doesn't like someone counting down in his ear when he's trying to make a decision, then he needs to shut his mouth when someone else is trying to make a decision.
Well,
It
and
goes
I'm going
both
to tell
ways.
you something. There were definitely times in the last few days that I'm yelling at the screen, at Will. Call the clock on them, Will. Like, start calling the clock on them. Like, two can play that game.
Yeah, and he's like arguing with a broken record. The stuff I've seen, he's just saying the same thing over and over, like a 5-year-old. It's like, I mean, at some point, your fuse ends and you're done saying the same thing over and over. I mean, it's just the frustration in these poor staff is just crazy.
Yeah,
But
and
still enjoying it
I know, and
because I'm not at the table.
right, and it's unfortunate because it is taking away from the game, and it is taking away, for some people, it's their first experience being that far in the main event. And it's also taking away from others experiences, and that's not quite fair either, as well as the experience of the viewer. Like, could you imagine tuning in for the very first time? Oh, I just started playing poker. Let me turn into the main event is now being broadcast. Let me tune in and see what's going on, and this is what you see for the very first time. I mean, think about that. Is that what we want either? I'm not so sure. Go ahead, Bobby.
And also another thing, not only does it take away from the game itself and the new players and all those things, it took away from his game because
Yeah.
he is an excellent player. He's very, very good,
Yep.
But when he's embroiled in this battle with fucking everybody who is around, I mean, there's very, very few allies that he had at that point. But it's just like chocolate. A little tiny piece of chocolate. Okay, I want some more chocolate. All right, now a decent pile of chocolate. All right, that's pretty good too. Now, a lot of chocolate. All right, fuck this. It's too much. It's gross. You know what I'm saying? A
Yep.
little goes a long way with Will Kassouf. And he made for good TV. 50% of what he did would have been fantastic TV, but when he hit that 100 mark, it was just bad to watch and it was kind of sad.
Very sad. I think that is an appropriate word. Very sad because we want to see more out of him. Like we want, we want it to go well for him, like any other player. But watching him, implode right before our eyes, yeah, I don't want that. Go ahead, John. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to go off of what Bobby said. I agree with. I think not only a little bit of Wilka soup is better than all of it. I think it kind of speaks to poker consumption in general. Like, if we really want to get average casual people to care about it, we need to really start focusing on edited down versions of all this stuff. Because even as somebody who plays and loves the game, I struggle to sit and watch 5, 6 hours of it because it's slow and there's not a lot happening at times. So like if you're wanting to grow the game and get people to care about it, yeah, you need people like Will that give us a little bit of drama and a little bit of personality, but like we've really got to focus on providing edited down content that cuts to the chase more.
Okay, I'm just going to speak up against that. I want all 7 million hours.
Well, sure, you do. You do. You're very, and I
And
want a
guess
lot.
what? And you don't. And guess
No,
what?
I do. I do too.
And
I
it's
do
okay.
too. I do. But I'm saying like we are probably. I would argue probably like 3 to 5% of the total market. The people that want all of it. I would argue that like because if you think back to when it was super popular and everybody was playing it, what were we getting? We were getting the edited down versions that the casual people can consume.
And guess what? Those of us that love it asked for more and we got it.
They can exist in different, they can exist at the same time, they can coexist. I'm just saying that like this is where when we talk about growing the game we have to examine what content actually grows the game versus what's for the hardcore diehards.
All right, go ahead, Dana.
All A lot of these things that the guys are saying, I've also been thinking through this morning as well. I also am very disappointed in Poker Go. Kind of going with what also you said yesterday, Sherry. He didn't have to be at the feature table. We didn't have to give him the attention, and I feel like it was like watching a Maury Povich show version of, or maybe Jerry Springer
Right,
version of poker.
right. 100%. And that's exactly what they want for ratings. At that point, it's not
Yeah,
about good poker, it's about ratings and
and
clicks and viewership.
yeah, and then on top of it, you've got the $20 paywall, and it's like the AOL disc that you got in the mail. It automatically renews next month, whether you remember it or not. They're banking on you not remembering. So you take the 50,000 watching on YouTube for free, and at least half of them want to continue watching it, paying 20 on YouTube or 20 on their app. That's a chunk of change.
Right,
And then, like you said, um downing him, and dogging him, dog piling. And I did draw the line at his behavior, what I saw from yesterday, and a few, the days prior. It was kind of escalating to drawing the line, like, okay, that's enough.
right.
But they didn't have to have him at the feature table, but that, you know
Day after day. And not only did they not have to have them on live feed tables, but they could have, penalized his behavior the first day he started acting crazy, so to speak. Instead, they didn't, and it kept going on and getting worse until we get to the point where he gets kicked out. And you
right.
know what? It's almost not fair as well because they helped create it, and he gets penalized for what they helped create. And I don't think that's very fair either. Go ahead, Bobby.
And the tough part is because a couple of times he was put
Oh, you
in
cut out, bud.
real. I said a couple of times Will was put in real tough situations, but you want to feel bad for him because you're given 10 seconds to make a decision that could potentially be worth millions of dollars, but you brought it all upon yourself. So there's that weird dichotomy, where does the empathy versus, you know, he's shooting himself in the foot, but he's also playing by different rules of the other people. It's a really interesting situation.
Right. And again, as ASG brought up, nowhere in the rule book does it say anything about that progressive clock getting worse and worse for him. So that's also an interesting, pull out of the hat kind of ruling. And it'll be interesting to see what happens at next year's tournament directors meeting, because I'm sure this is going to be a lengthy conversation, as it should be, because his antics, as well as Cabral's antics, definitely, push the limits of the current rules. And rules are made up because people push the limits, And so then new rules need to be made up. And so I'm sure this is going to be a lengthy conversation at the tournament directors meeting next year.
How mild does Martin Cabral seem now, though? Like, just a week ago, he seemed ridiculous. And now he seems like just, whatever.
Yeah. And this is a guy that would walk up across the room to someone and look, lean over them and look at their cards. And was his hands ever declared dead? I don't remember not one of them declared dead when he was away from his chair, but what do I know? It just is, it's not a good light on the poker world for sure. And things need to be handled differently on both sides. And I hope that Will gets some rest because he definitely needs it. And I also hope he maybe apologizes somewhere down the line here because what he did leaving that table was a disgrace, quite honestly. So disappointing. Anybody else in the audience that wants to come up and comment on this, you're more than welcome to. I see Sean McCormack. He must be taking a break from testing his new video eyeglasses, and I'm sure he's getting ready to use when he plays poker. But right now he's playing machine poker. I don't know what's it called.
Video poker.
Video poker. Thank you. I guess he's testing him out on video poker before he plays the real thing in him. I'm not sure, but anyway, hopefully he'll come up and tell us about that. ASG, anything else on the topic?
Yeah, nothing else on the topic of Kassouf. But also, since we're talking about the TDA, I'm curious to see what can solve the one chip behind issue, or if that's just more of an issue in the main because the pay jumps are so large. But it definitely got even more. I've never seen it to this level as it was this year.
I'm afraid they're going to go to hand for hand on pay jumps, and I don't really want that because it's going to slow the game down. But like that was one solution that I saw floated, and then I saw somebody say they need to just flatten out pay jumps so you're not getting massive pay jumps every so many. But
well, and you know what? Hand to hand at pay jumps may be faster than stalling at pay jumps.
You're absolutely right. That could be like it's hard to say, but they're going to have to do something about it.
Well, and I know that's on Matt Savage's list of things to do because he was talking about that on Twitterland a month or so ago, and I can't remember what he said. I can't remember what he said, but something about that chip would automatically be in the pot, and I don't agree with that. If I want to keep one chip, those are my chips. I'm going to keep one fucking chip. You're not going to tell me I can't. The problem is not the chip amount or amounts. It's the fact that I'm stalling. So you got to do something about the stalling. So anyway, that's my 2 cents for what that shit's worth. But anyway, ASG, did you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I think we covered it.
All right. Anybody else on that topic? Any other topic? Oh, I see my friend Sean is here. Go ahead, Sean.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey.
I am a 5:30 in the morning every day wake up kind of guy, and today I woke up like 10 minutes ago. So give me a second with my morning cup of coffee here. I'll be back with you
Well,
guys.
that's what happens when you're out testing those cheater glasses all night long. I hope you won. And I'm joking, people. I'm joking.
Of course, the second I went off live, I hit the 4 aces like 3 seconds later, which was fun. Obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna care, but no, it was fun. No, Sherry, I have no intentions of being like a poker content creator or sitting at a poker table creator. I just wanted to see how they worked, how they looked, and kind of feel like seeing through the eyes of content creators. I feel like it's very important. I'll be right back. You guys are bringing up some very, very, very important topics. Sherry, you are 100% right on the one chip rule. There is no rule in basketball that says you can't wait 23.9 seconds every time to shoot the ball. It's within the rules. We have to change the rules if we don't like it. All right, be right back.
Okay, bud. Enjoy your cup of coffee. Go ahead, Dana.
I was just going to ask and see if you guys have talked about or if you saw Afriat slam his hands on the table, and I don't think he got a penalty for that.
Oh, I did not. So if you want to describe it,
It was, a big 3-bet on the river, and he ended up tanking about 6 minutes or so and called, and then he slammed the table hard enough that the chips across the entire table moved or bounced, it looked like.
right.
And so I don't think he got a penalty. Um, and so I just wanted to know if anybody saw that, anybody's thoughts.
We
I
had some
mean,
examples.
rightfully so. I mean, you got to show a little emotion. You're playing for $10 million. I mean, I don't think it was egregious to the point where it turned violent or anything. That guy made a rough call. He was wrong. Got a little mad and gave the table a little stomp. It's okay.
Yeah, we don't like, I agree with that. Like, obviously you don't want people getting out of line, and you have to have, some sort of limit to it. But like, we have examples of that from back in the 2000s. And if we take away all emotion, we become the no fun league, and you don't want that. But I didn't see this specific example, so I don't want to speak out of line on it. But you do have to let people be able to show emotion.
Except the dick swinging thing the other day. Let's not show that emotion, okay, gentlemen?
I no, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, that one was too much. Like, there's a line. There has to be a line.
Right on.
But
Go ahead, Ace.
Well, if
Oh, sorry.
yeah, if he had gone just a little bit, slammed just a little bit more, it would have spread the chips around, and it would have caused a problem. So I didn't know there was a problem with that, in the 2000s, early
well,
2000s.
the one that it brings to mind, just as your description was, I'm trying to remember. Mike the Mouth got into an argument with the one
Cheek.
guy, and then
Sean Chacon.
Sean Chacon, yeah,
Yeah.
and it turned into a big old argument, and like, because he slammed the table because he had folded the pre-flop, and he hit the flop. He would have hit the flop, and Madison was mad because he said that gave away what his hand was, and so there was a whole argument. And again, this is one of the highlights that we remember, 20 years later from an ESPN broadcast. So the drama adds to the content, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
Right.
There's a balance. It's a balancing act, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure if the chips would have went flying on that table, we'd be having a different conversation, Dana. Go ahead,
Okay.
ASG.
Yeah, one. Yeah, I didn't see it, but also Everett. Yeah, speaking of reputations, he's known to be. I'm just gonna say he's known to be a miserable human being. I mean that is his reputation.
But he did
Kills
look
off
nice in
and
his green jacket, I might add. Go ahead.
like there was a thing in the EPT where uh he shoved Boatman called his all in, and then he his version of tilting, speaking of solutions, was to use all of his time banks just out of spite to end the day with like 10 minutes left in the day. And yeah, and I also wanted to add for the one chip behind. You know, I don't know if John agrees here, but language is important, and I think it's unfair to this is in response to Negrandi's vlog, to call people who you do the one chip behind to try to ladder. I think it's at current stage where this is considered a possible strategy. I think it's unfair to call that angle shooting.
Correct.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's angle shooting. I just think that it needs to be fixed.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I'm just saying Negreanu is calling it angle shooting. So that's why I just wanted to.
Oh no, to me it's no different. Here's the way I look at it. It's no different than like the NFL players, like when their team's winning, they take a knee and it's boring and it sucks, and like they're doing it to run the clock out. It's a strategy, but like it's a strategy that no one likes. So it needs to be fixed.
Well, just because we don't like it doesn't mean that it needs to be fixed.
Well, not the one chip itself, the tanking part, like the 6
Yes,
minutes when you know what
that's
you're.
that's right.
That's the part I don't like. No, I don't care about the chip. Like if you want to leave one chip behind for various strategical reasons, yeah, by all means do that.
It's the
But like
stalling. We got to fix
it's the
the
stalling for
stalling.
6 minutes. Yeah.
I agree. And I'm going to tell you, I was playing a tournament and we were on the bubble, and I had enough of my big blind and my antes and my small blind. And if I fold both hands, I have one chip left, and we're on the bubble. So you better be darn tootin' that I folded my big blind and my small blind, so I'd have one chip left to make it through one more rotation of that table in hopes that somebody would bust and I would make the money. Definitely a strategy, and one that I would use again. I wasn't stalling. I was using it as a strategy to get another rotation around that table in hopes that somebody else would bust out and I would sneak into the money. And I would never want to take that strategy away from somebody. So we're really talking about, as John has said, about the stalling and fixing how we can get around, fixing the stalling, so to speak. So it's not happening in those bubbles spots or those pay jump spots. So go ahead, Fats. Welcome.
Hey, couple things on this topic. I agree with stalling to some point, but if you're going to use the strategy of holding a chip or two back, which is a very good strategy and a very viable strategy, but the reason why he might need to tank is because he could be trying to mathematically figure out the exact right amount to bet. Because when you raise and leave a couple chips behind,
He's getting a phone
if
call.
they want to put you all in, has to put a full increment bet over the top of you, and as opposed to, because if there's somebody behind, they potentially are facing somebody else calling too. So sometimes you might need to figure out what the right exact amount is.
But that's
But
not the situation that's being discussed, Fats. What's being discussed is you put through a 7.2 million and keep a $25,000 chip back just so you can tank for 6 minutes, knowing you're hoping somebody busts before you. That's what happened yesterday.
well,
But Fats is also saying if the person who initially made the bet or whatever wants to raise to get your last chip in, you have to make it. We'll say the guy went from 3 million to 7.25 and kept 25,000 behind. This guy's got to make it 11 million to make it a full raise to get all your chips in. That's what Fats is saying, right?
yes.
Right.
The other thing too is I would love to be at the same table with that guy, Kassouf. I think I could handle him just fine. I would like that 1v1 up.
You can't even wait 5 minutes for your McDonald's. How are you going to wait 5 minutes for a hand to happen while he goes on the range?
Yeah, but see, he's the way you take care of him is you don't never address him directly, but you always maybe say something to the guy next to you or something that's going to set him off. And every time he shuts up, you just keep setting him off.
Well, and let's face it, real Fats, can perform some manifestos. So I'm sure the two of them would slow down the game to a screeching halt if they were sitting at the same table.
And inevitably, when you do that and you get under their skin that way, eventually they can't help themselves and they say something to you that has the word fat in it. And then that's when you ask, is he allowed to say that? And that's usually that's where the first warning comes in, if they haven't already been warned once. So
Oh my God.
you induce them to call you fat is basically the strategy.
Well, I didn't induce anybody to call me fat, and one guy walked right up to me when we were everyone was gathering to sit down at the final table, and the guy that was going to sit to my left walked right up to me, never saw this guy before in my life, and said, "Man, you sure are fat." Yeah, I'm thinking that's not a good conversation to have. And
somebody walked up to you and said that?
And the dealer did absolutely nothing. A female dealer.
Did you turn to him and say, Are you kidding me? Don't you know that I'm Sherry from Spaces?
I turned to him and said, "Wow, your mom must be really proud of you." And of course, he didn't know what to say. Oh, so funny. I mean, there's assholes every day. We, wake up next to them every day, so to speak.
Wait, you sleep with assholes?
Okay, you feel better now?
All
All
right.
right. All right. Sean,
You set yourself up for
all
that
right,
one.
I did. All right. Sean McCormack must have had his cup of coffee and he is ready to rock and roll. Go ahead, Sean.
Definitely not enough just yet, especially for this conversation. But good morning, everybody. Good morning. Man, what a summer it's been, huh? So yeah, like let me first say that I think from my side of the table this year, and I'm not going to talk about anybody specifically, especially at a different company, but we got exposed. We got exposed this summer 100%. And where we got exposed to me is around consistency.
Yes.
It's really bad. It's really bad. So, and it's right there on TV for everybody to
Yes.
see, which is a topic of conversation I would have if I was the WSOP with Poker Go or whoever's creating my content. I get that these moments are really cool, having like in sports where you hear what the refs are saying and stuff like that. But these conversations are much harder in poker. They're very binary in sports. They're not in our world. We have to play off of what you say sometimes. So hearing these conversations can come out of context, and I've already seen them. So I don't think a lot of that, like the little clips and shorts I'm seeing on YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, the full length stuff on Poker Go is all great. So again, I think we got exposed. As operators, our job is to make the same ruling each and every time, regardless of the individual. Now, let me put an asterisk on that. I do agree with shortening a player's shot clock if they're repeatedly abusing it. I do. But that's really where it ends, guys. We're not there to make arbitrary decisions just because a player is pushing our buttons a certain way. So you guys know who I'm talking about, obviously, but as operators, we need to get in the metaphorical office or online. We do a lot of Zoom meetings with each other and talk, even with the competitors sometimes and stuff like that, to talk about overarching issues like TDA issues. We got to do this well before the TDA next year because unfortunately, by the time the TDA summit is next year, we'll be into the main event again. So we got to talk about this before that happens. Now, I'm going to talk about one other thing, and then back to you guys, kind of thing. But on the growing the game and what the content should look like on TVs and socials. And this, I'm not the foremost expert at all. I'm a poker guy. I'm not a TV guy. Although TV poker, I think as an operator, I have more experience than the most. I would say, everything with Poker Go, WPT, and a lot of other things over the years. I've definitely seen what people like and how these things work in the background. And I'll tell you even more importantly what the big wigs are saying. And I'm hearing it not just from internally, but externally, like what they want out of poker players. Because right now is our time, guys. We have to strike with the iron's hot. The big wigs, the CEOs, actually believe poker has value, like a ton of value. Like 20 years ago, 15 years, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even, you always walk around casinos and you hear, oh, the redheaded stepchild. We're changing the narrative. And I'm in these big corporate office rooms and meetings telling these people, don't say that about poker. Because I tell them all, if you think poker doesn't have value, close all of our poker rooms tomorrow. You'll be begging me to open them in 30 days. So, anyways, on to another. Really, I have said that all the way up to our CEO, and he believes in poker and you guys. But John Robertson, you are on the right track, my dude. You are 100% on the right track. It can't be 100% poker content all the time. Yes, we still need to can that content for the diehards like Sherry, me, you guys, all that. We need to can that stuff. But what poker truly needs to grow, and I'm going to walk off on this one. Poker needs what F1 has. We need the drive to survive for poker. That's what we need. We need to know the players, and it's not Will Kassouf. I'm sorry. He can be a part of it. He can be a part of the story. He has some value. Obviously, we're all talking about him. We're talking about the villain. We need the new Mike Mattis out. But the way he went about it, we as operators need to skew this so he does it correctly. We shouldn't be showing 100% of his blowups all the time. We should be showing those lightning moments that keep the people engaged and still has a little bit of the conversation of him being the villain. Because if he's not the villain, we're not talking about him. Or if he's not, whatever the opposite of the villain is, the hero, I guess. We don't have a ton of them in poker, but we build those stories
That's what poker needs to, if we, from a content side. And I trust GG is going to move the content that way next year. And I think a lot of other operators, whether it's Triton, whether it's, the NAPT series with Poker Stars, whether it's Poker Go, you're going to see a lot more of that, more of the, what was that, like Game of Gold style stuff, more of like telling the poker player's story, the lifestyle of the poker player. That's what everybody wants across the board. Everybody in here, the diehards and the people that will actually grow the game and put money back in you guys as professional poker players' pockets. Okay, there it is. I'm done. I'm going to take a breath and have more coffee.
It doesn't sound like you need more coffee, but I definitely appreciate your comments this morning for sure. I think Fats had his hand up first, then we'll go to Bobby. Go ahead, Fats.
On the clips, the Jack Effel clip, you can clearly see Jack Effel had lost his mind with that guy and was just like, shut up, go to the rail. I don't want to hear another word from you. But what I found really to be solid proof of how annoying this Kassouf had to have been was in the clip with Dennis Jones, when Dennis Jones is telling him security is going to be escorting him off and he's done. Now, I've known Dennis Jones down there for years, and he is one of the nicest, sweetest, funniest, good sense of humor, level-headed, fair. I mean, can't say enough about Dennis and all the interactions I've had with him over the years. He's patient, and Dennis was absolutely like, that's the most like I've seen Dennis like annoyed or upset like probably in his poker lifetime with somebody. He was so like the guy was really getting to Dennis. Dennis was like at his wit's end with the guy when he finally just walked away and let the security lady handle it. So if he got that type of a reaction out of Dennis, he had to be that annoying all the way along.
Dennis or Bob? Did I mix those two up? Oh no.
It was Dennis Jones that told him he was done for the series and was being escorted by security off the property.
It was Dennis yesterday, Bob the day before.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, go ahead, Bobby.
Just a quick question for Sean. We were talking about Aria earlier, and he's got kind of a nasty reputation. I'm wondering if you've had any experiences with him, because I've dealt to him at 3 different events, and not only have I found him not to be what the folks are saying, but I found him to be very sweet, very engaging with the dealers. He was incredibly kind to me. I don't know if this is just maybe a me thing or something, but he's been fantastic with me. Like one of my favorite people that I've ever dealt to, Eric Afriat. It's weird.
Obviously I won't directly talk about a guest of ours too. Obviously there's guests of ours at MGM Resorts. But I will say this, the experiences I have with Eric are definitely not what I'm reading about him online. My personal experiences, he's always been a nice guy to me. Have I seen him get hot and bothered? Absolutely. You've seen it on TV. Eric doesn't hide it. That's who he is. He's a fiery character and stuff like that. I've read some of the things that you've read, I'm sure, and I'm just part of it is surprised, but also, somebody could say something to a guy like me or you, and it might come off as A, and he might say the exact same thing again to somebody else, and it might come off as B. So it's like, to me, the truth is always in the middle. Without any further knowledge or anything, I haven't seen anything on TV that makes me just like feel like I saw the thing about somebody said he was like gonna put him in the ground or something like that. Like Eric is just a fiery guy. That conduct, I'd have to be there in person, probably was out of line and needs to be checked 100%. You can't just say things like that. But I also have to be there in the room. I've seen millions of hands play out of poker at this point, and I've seen somebody say something that's been taken out of context before. But again, what I am saying is Eric should be addressed in those situations and handled appropriately.
And to his credit, he was in a big hand. I want to say it was the day before yesterday. He was in a big hand, and his opponent took a good amount of time to tank. pardon me. And Eric did end up calling the clock on his opponent. And it had been after a good while. So I saw nothing as far as that was concerned. And his opponent ended up calling him, I think, with threes, maybe. And Eric was running a bluff at that point in time. And it was a great call by the opponent because I think it was like a 4-6, and then the cards were higher than that. So he was beat by even the lowest card on the board and still called him with the threes. And to Eric's credit, he was like, dude, that was a great call and impressive. And Eric went on for a few minutes at that table over that call, and what a great call it was. So I kind of feel like we kind of got a bird's eye view of the real Eric, not the showman, or maybe the one that maybe gets a little hot under the collar quickly kind of person. But again, he looked good in that green jacket. But anyway, ladies first. Dana, go ahead.
All right, I'll be quick because John did have his hand up before me. I just want to say, Sean, if something I would say directly to the tournament directors making the changes and the bigwigs making the changes is to consider the things that and watch the things that like Triton Poker and Poker Stars are doing, being both the operators and the production of the content. It seems to me that with two entities trying to run the show, that probably adds to the frustration as
Well,
well.
that's going to end soon because Poker Go's contract is up, as
Right.
Sean alluded to earlier. GG Poker's going to take that over. But go ahead, Sean. I'm not trying to put
Well,
words in your mouth.
GG Poker is still a separate entity from WSOP, right?
No, they own it.
I think they bought it. GG
Yeah,
bought the name.
GG
Okay,
owns it.
got it.
Go ahead, Sean. I didn't mean to butt in there, but
Oh, was there a question? I'm sorry. I heard Dana. I don't disagree with what she's saying. I didn't hear a question though.
okay, perfect. John, go ahead, John.
All right, I just wanted to address Sean's comments before I go watch the Fever game. So I'm going to talk and then bounce. But I agree. I think you're right that the game of gold is a good example, and the Drive to Survive is a good example. NASCAR is doing the same thing. It's just because we're seeing so many people's attention spans getting shorter and shorter. It's the reason why we people say they like the movies better than the books, but like they're even getting shorter than that now. So like we need the narratives. And I look at it from a creative writing and a literature perspective. We need the narratives. We need the characters. We need all that stuff. We just need it to be condensed for the people who aren't diehards. And again, I'm not trying to get rid of the stuff like for the people that want all of it, that the people that want to go to the F1 race and follow all of the stuff, that like we want that there for them. But like we've got to start a funnel of content for people that aren't that deep into it. So it's good to hear that they're talking about it. I appreciate all the work you're doing.
In the next couple of years, I guarantee you're going to see one of these content creators do something like maybe like a Kai Cenat, like a content house thing where they do it in Vegas and they're gonna have cameras on them 24 hours a day, mic'd up. You're gonna see them wake up. You're gonna see them drive to I almost said the Rio. Jeez, it's too early. but yeah, man, I love the Rio. Does everybody miss the Rio too? Anyway,
I missed the Rio.
Well,
I
Yeah,
missed
when
the
you
Rio.
fucking park that car, you missed the Rio. All you got to do is
I
park in
missed
that
the
giant
Rio.
lot.
no,
but
that parking lot was so convenient in and out, and like I don't mind because for me now I just have to walk across the bridge at Bellagio, but in the 105-degree heat. But still, I digress. But yeah, I mean they're gonna figure this content stuff out. They really are, and it's gonna get interesting. And I'm gonna go even as far to say that we needed this year to show us what we actually want, because we're all talking about it. Everybody's at the highest level is talking about it. All these companies are aligning with people. Hell, Will Kassouf will get picked up by somebody off of this to be their ambassador or something like that.
I just think he would fit in really good with WPT Gold.
I
I
mean,
just
don't
think
they
that.
do enough already?
I just
well,
think he might have a niche there. And, I really wish that the game of gold was back sooner, because I think that that was fantastic poker content, so to speak. And hopefully they're going to get on the horse and get that produced a little more quickly. But yeah, I brought
Hey
up a
Sean,
new
hey Sean,
speaker.
it sounds like It sounds like what you're talking about is what was it ACR tried to do a few years ago with Thirst Lounge? Wasn't marketed correctly, but it's kind of along that same vein.
Yeah,
Welcome.
exactly like that. The Thirst Lounge, or even like they started creating. They had the Punters Pad up until this year, creating
Yeah.
content. How all that stuff. That's what people want to see, man. That's yeah. Was that Jaman? Hold on, is that Jaman?
Yes, sir. I'm actually right outside the Bellagio. I got up on my button to talk to you on my button,
Bro,
Sean.
have you ever got up on one of these things?
No, no.
Oh, now that Jamin, I gotta say I'm a huge fan. I subscribe and watch all your videos, buddy. You are one of the top what vlogs should look like, and I don't think you get nearly enough love for it, sir. I just gotta say that. And I don't fanboy very much, but I gotta tell you, I really do love your stuff.
No,
Thank
hold
you.
on, hold on. Let me interject. He didn't get enough love until the one time he didn't show up to the awards and then actually won it.
100%. Yeah.
Well, welcome, J-Man. Appreciate you
Thank
stopping by.
Yeah, if you guys aren't watching his content, his vlogs are absolutely what poker vlogs should look like at the highest quality level. He's telling narrative. He's doing great editing to make it's seriously, and you guys know that I don't give praise out like candy. Like it really is good stuff.
Awesome.
And Sherry, real quick before we move on, I just want to go back to Dana's comment real quick. Dana, Triton owns they own the series similar to like WPT owns the series, but they still have partnered casinos. I don't know who the gaming people work for operationally, if they work for Triton and they just get licensed at the casinos. That would be different than what we do here in Vegas, obviously. But or if the people work there all year long. I don't know. Someone would have to tell me. I'm assuming they travel with their people, so it's the same people every time. But if it's not, it would be similar to what we do, and then it's kind of a mixed bag. And
I
again,
will.
like I can't wait to the conversation. Like all the operators, we should do a ton of these like roundtable on like YouTube, whatever conversations or whatever you want to call them, fireside chats or whatever the goofy term is this year, and talk about these things. Because again, I think we got very exposed. I think there was so many inconsistencies that you as players should, we need to tighten that up for you. We can't have. And I'm gonna have TDs that give me shit for this. And shout out to TD Pat down there in the chat from National Harbor. Not that he's gonna be one of the guys that give me shit for this, but TDs have kind of unchecked authority and power right now, and we kind of have to do something with that. You can't have one TD make a ruling one day and another one that's pissed off make a different ruling for the same thing. I'm sorry, but
Exactly.
that does not happen on the live side. That would never
Exactly.
happen on the live side. I'm not saying you can't get a shift manager on swing to give you a different ruling than gray. I'm not saying that. That definitely happens. We work through those inconsistencies, but the way these TDs just have unchecked power to be like 1 round penalty, that can't happen. It has to be consistent. If player A says motherfucker and gets a 1 round penalty, player B can't get a finger wagging for the same exact thing because
Exactly.
they're innocent and they're an angel. No, a foul is a foul is a foul.
Exactly.
If you call the foul on one player, you have to call the foul on the next player, and the punishment must be the same. Can it go up based on someone repeatedly? Sure, but even that I don't think is accurate. If you're at that point where that player is like pissing you off or whatever is disruptive to the tournament, give them a last and final and DQ them. But I'll tell you this, if you DQ a player, they should never play on your property again, because that is the ultimate, like, you messed up if we're taking your money and not giving you anything, because you can't place a wager and get nothing. We just kicking someone randomly on a tournament just can't happen. And I'm a little fiery about this one because, again, this is my side of the table, and we got exposed with this. And again, I'm not pointing to any one thing. You can go back weeks. You could do some of the Martin Cabral stuff and say that maybe some people got out of whack with him too. Although, man, does he look like an angel next to Will right now, right? But that's obviously just confirmation bias. Will made it deep in the main, and we're all going to remember him.
Well,
But
and I'm
yeah,
just going to reiterate, Sean definitely doesn't need another cup of coffee. But to your point,
damn you, Sherry.
even-handed, right? It has to be even-handed, as I've said before. It can't be one set of rules for this person, a different set of rules for this one, because they're nicer, so to speak. They're the same rules for everybody. Um, and we have seen it over and over, as Sean mentioned those other examples earlier. So go ahead, Bobby.
I can agree with the penalties need to be given in the same direction, and there needs to be escalation if the behavior continues. But one thing I don't agree with Sean with, and I'm sure he's heard this before, is if someone gets DQ'd, say someone is fucking just having a really bad day and they get ripped and they act like an asshole, and you got to throw them out. I'm a big believer in redemption stories. That might not be to who that person is at the core, and apologies can be had, and you can have this person back on your property. I mean, it's possible that the person is just the worst human in the world and you can throw them out forever. But I'm a big believer in redemption and, you know, letting people show who their true colors are no matter what it is. It can't
All
just
right.
be one and done thrown out.
Can I come back? Yeah, obviously,
No, no, I'm right. I'm just kidding.
obviously it's in the middle here, and I got a little fiery, but and I'm going to throw a little bit of not shade, but shots fired a little bit at some of my competitors. Resorts never has a lifetime ban policy unless you literally cheat or do something like a criminal act so bad that you can't come back from. But no, generally when it comes to behavior, we don't have a lifetime ban where we just tell players they can never come back like some of our competitors do. And I agree with you. Telling a 26-year-old poker player you can't play the WSOP for life would be devastating to most. Like I, as an operator, I wouldn't care, but like people were asking, what's the value of Caesars throwing you out for life? Well, I'll tell you this: to those two pros, it's more than $500,000, so they're probably not happy right now. To me, you could have gave me 30,000, and I'd be like, deuces, homie. It's just a big difference. I don't play poker professionally for a living, so. Yes, we have to think about when we bring down the ban hammer, so to speak, and make these decisions fairly. And again, I try and I do it. I think I do a really decent job of this. I don't let my emotions ever get attached to these things. I literally look at them in a vacuum. I pull myself away. And again, it's why I said earlier, all the cameras on the operators having these one-on-one conversations is rough for me, because sometimes you have to cater the conversation. Like, I can't have the same conversation with a weekend warrior 1-3 person who comes to Aria twice a year from across the country as I do a 4,000, 8,000 high roller in Bobby's room. And I wouldn't want the camera to catch me having those conversations differently, and people making back alley judge of what my actions are in this one scenario, because again, these conversations are happening differently with other players than Will. So we're gonna figure this all out, though. I'm telling you, we're gonna figure it out.
Go ahead, Fats.
Yeah, I just had a question for Sean with regard to the 90%, 10% guys that got banned. If they would have handled it differently by, I've suggested two options they could have done instead of colluding and dumping. Whereas the guy with the 90% lead could have said, I'm having chest pains, I need an ambulance, and then just left and never came back for weeks or months. Or he could have just made some kind of comment that would have gotten him a reprimand, and then he could have just cursed out the floor person until he got enough penalties that he would have had to be blinded out. Would you think that would have been a legitimate way for them to handle that, or do you think they still would have suffered the same penalties?
I mean, your options are. I'm laughing over here for sure, Fats. Like, we didn't have to go that extreme, but yes, let's use kind of like we were talking about the one chip rule. Like, it's in the rules, guys. Unless we want to change the rules, you have to let them, as players, do what they do. Yes, you're right. The player that had a 9-1 chip lead or whatever it was, all he had to do was leave. What could we have done? He could have walked over to the Bellagio, started playing blackjack. He could have walked over to Aria, started playing baccarat. And there's nothing you could have done. He would have blinded out, lost, and you would have handed the bracelet to the other person, and it would have been GG's. Yeah, they could have still done the investigation, been like, something's wrong here, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Sure, but like, we have to change the rules. We have to change the rules. And I think, and I gave my opinion on this when it happened. I think the conversation is really between WSOP and WPT having a conversation behind the scenes and saying, "Hey, we didn't appreciate this. We want to grow the game of poker just like you do. We won't step on your toes if you don't step on our toes." But no, now we have a new Bahamas event and all this stuff, and they're just going to fight to the end of time, and it's only going to hurt the poker players. It's really not going to. It doesn't grow the game. It just splits the player base, and I'm upset about that because my job is to grow the game. So I do things even in a space where, our competitors down the street are running an event. We run an event not directly against it, but an event that could even not complement it. I'm not working with them, but I'm not working against them because I know there's nothing good comes from growing the game if we're just butting into each other's heads every single time. And that's the problem I have with this whole thing.
Well, Sean, let me follow that up with the issue between, it being an issue between WPT and WSOP. Even if let's say they agreed that we're not going to put that type of an offer out there again with $1 million bonus or something like that. What's to stop a company like Coca-Cola or Budweiser or somebody else from saying, "Hey, if you buy 100 cases of our beer or soda, we'll give you a certificate ticket. And if you go to the World Series and win one of these events, having qualified, we'll throw an extra $1 million on first place." You could still have that same situation without it being WSOP or WPT funding the bonus.
All right, so I am not a lawyer, and I will never claim to be one. So I think this could be a conversation at that level. I don't know, Fats. I really don't. Like in my mind, if somebody wanted to put a promotion, like we obviously know in the gray online space, people do this all the time. You'll see, crypto poker sites saying win a seat to the WSOP, and I'm like, how is that legal? But who's checking these things? So I don't know if some off-party non-gaming brand said, "Hey, we're going to do this promotion on top of another person's brand," where the legality of that lies. I assume it's fine because WPT did it, right? So I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
And
I think the issue that WSOP would run into if they had a problem with it is a brand like Coke or Budweiser or something like that. They got an endless supply of legal fees to argue with them. I don't think it would be worth the expense of WSOP to try and fight them legally.
Well, again, I'm not a lawyer, but the size and scope of WSOP GG versus WPT is night and day, obviously. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to talk any legalese or anything like that. But yeah, I'll say again what I said at the beginning of the summer. If anybody has a promotion they want to add to the BetMGM Summer Championship, those dates will be out soon for next summer. You can put $1 million on top of my event, and I'll even help you players split that up.
All right. I might be talking to you about something that I thought of while I was in Vegas, but has nothing to do with that, by the way. Go ahead, Bobby. I think your hand was up first.
Back to what Sean was saying about the guy who had the 9-1 chip lead. All he had to do was leave and whatever. Hey, if I entrusted a guy to pay me $500,000 from the club WPT or whatever, you think I'm going to leave the fucking building before I get that $500K? No chance.
Now, he didn't say leave the building. He did say go play blackjack or roulette or something, for the record.
Well, being
those guys were lifelong friends.
Being the company man that he is, he said go to Bellagio and play blackjack.
I did.
I picked up on that.
And let me say one thing, guys, before it gets misconstrued, because it will get misconstrued. I am about game integrity. I don't want this to happen. I put out a big post about this when this happened. I don't want impropriety at my tables. I don't want someone walking away in the heads up moment. I love poker. That is terrible for the game. But you can't tell risk adverse, risk on people like poker players that you left $1 million on the table. Because again, guys, if these guys didn't do what they did, and the player that had the 9-1 chip lead won the event, and the $1 million was on the table, every single poker player would have woke up the next day and said, "Look at these suckers! Look at these idiots! Why did they not just make a deal, blah, blah. And the story would be that. So there was only, these guys couldn't win. The second they were heads up, they could not win. There was a no-win situation from how the story was going to be told. It was either they were going to look scummy to some, because there are people that don't know poker like we know poker, that are calling these guys scumbags. And that's horrible. We know that's not the case. They took advantage of a promotion that it's $1 million, guys. I don't know if you guys have ever seen $1 million in front of you. I have. It's a lot of money. And again, you can't make the comparison about integrity to, like, what if the guy in Wimbledon just dropped his racket? I said, well, he still gets paid. He still gets paid. That's the thing. He still gets paid. Poker players, you can show up with $10,000 in your pocket on any given day and go home broke. Show me any professional athlete that can do that, and I'll be like, I'll put my hand up to them. But that's the inherent problem. We have to talk about the promotion and the operators, and free these two guys to go back to WSOP. I'm team that.
All right, go ahead, ASG.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because Fats was talking about WSOP and this and that. As far as I know, and at least what D-Nex has said in his vlog, the issue was with Nevada Gaming and Caesars Properties, not with WSOP. And I still think the issue was more that this was, I guess issue is the wrong word, but if this wasn't a stream tournament, nobody would have known. Nobody, like, they put on a good enough quote unquote show in terms of betting and folding that if you didn't see the cards or whatever, that I think it, like, nobody, yeah, like, it would have been much less obvious than other times where this same exact thing has happened, such as Sean Deeb and Gus Hansen for the one drop satellite and WPT event, where you just bet all but one chip and then full to a raise, and nobody says anything or cares, because what they do heads up is their business.
ASG, let me ask you this. Let's say, take the promo out, take the $1 million
Yeah.
out. These guys get heads up, same situation. They go on break for a second, they talk, and the guy that's in second chip position says, "Hey man, this is my lifelong dream. I'll make whatever happen. If you let me win the bracelet, I'll give you X." Whatever they do, and let's not begin to think that this hasn't happened in all the history of all the
100%.
bracelets and trophies and everything else. Of course it has.
Right.
And this is why facilitating deals is a good thing. But anyways, I digress. Let's say you did all that. Would we be talking about this story without the promotion? Of course not,
No.
right?
Well, I the only reason we would somewhat be talking about, if it was still streamed, is, or if it was still the same WSOP scenario, is one, that it was streamed so everybody would see it, and two, there would still be an interesting question of, would CBS Sports be able to re-air this acting like it was like a normal thing going on?
Sure.
All right, we're going to move on to Barry. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry. Good space. I don't know. What do the kids say? I'm gonna call Cap. People, when they say when they start what they're gonna say with respectfully, they're about to unleash some of the most horrendous fucking shit you're about to fucking hear. So I'm not gonna start by saying respectfully, Sean. What the fuck is going on? The Borgata starts in a few days. These cocksuckers want to charge people $350 a night for a room, and you think you're gonna build poker that way? Like you gotta beg for a $10 fucking dinner comp, food comp. Like these people, they want to splash around millions of dollars for no fucking reason, and then alienate fucking players every fucking step of the way. They want to, you said unintentionally, but intentionally overlap series around the country so people are forced to choose to where they want to go. You got the MGM BetMGM series starting at the Borgata on the same day that the Tampa Hard Rock series starts, which directly overlaps with the Arizona State Championship. So even if you wanted to travel around and play these things, they make it virtually impossible. But yeah, let's build the game because somebody wants to be a fucking asshole at the fucking table, and it don't make nothing. None of it makes any sense.
Barry coming in hot. Go ahead, Sean.
What was there a question there? Wait, change the title, Sherry. We've left Las Vegas completely now. My goodness. Good morning, Barry. So you're catching me at a good time because the it's the first sip of coffee that makes me like wild for the first 5 minutes, but I'm calming down now.
We'll see here in a minute.
Barry, we'll talk in the channels, the back channels for sure. But I have some heavy artillery going to Borgata to ask some questions to get answers on some of the questions you even just asked. So yes, trying to build the game back at Borgata. I know we have to do more with reinvesting in the players. It is something Kelly and I have been talking about for the last couple of weeks. I'm working on those room rates and stuff like that, not just during tournament times, but we used to give really good rates at Borgata to bring people in on the weekends and stuff like that. I think we lost the plot a little bit in poker there. I'll admit it. You guys know I will always admit when we miss the mark. I think we can do better. And again, I promise you, it's a conversation we're having. And I'd love to talk to you. I'll DM you some more info.
Yeah, like 350 on a Thursday. I mean, it just don't make no sense. And then obviously, I spoke to you about the scheduling, how bad it is for the quote unquote limit players that they want to spread it, space it out. They make people leave and come back for no reason. I mean, I don't. You want to have it during the week? You want to have it on the weekend? Just make a decision. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you're gonna have three limit events, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you want it to be on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, you got so many different combinations. Not Thursday, Friday, Monday. Just make it make sense.
Turn your microphone on, Sean.
No, he's got nothing.
No. Like I said, I'll talk to him about this, and it's stuff we are actively working on, not like stuff we're saying that we're going to look into. This is stuff in real time that I have emails from this week, where again, a real bigwig is coming on our behalf to the property, someone well above me, and is going to speak on our behalf about some of these issues we have with the getting the correct event space when you guys are there, make sure the timing is right, making sure the property fully supports the overall vision of poker, because this isn't just a Borgata issue. This is an enterprise wide not issue that we're having. We just need Borgata to align with the rest of the company and saying poker is very important to the company right now, so we have to reinvest back in these players to make sure they're staying with us.
Yeah, just let me know when that meeting is. I'll make sure to show up.
Man, that would be fantastic.
I love this so much. And Barry, we expect you to come back and report uh, the changes.
You definitely need a spokesman for the people. I mean, you can't let Alan Kessler be the one doing all the talking.
All right, go ahead, Fats. Thank you,
Well,
Barry.
respectfully, I thought Barry made some really great points. The other thing is ASG, what you mentioned about Nevada Gaming being involved. I don't think Nevada Gaming has any jurisdiction over Coca-Cola or Budweiser making such
I'm
an
talking
offer.
about their heads up collusion, not the promotion.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that's really accurate, Fats. A promotion held in Nevada probably has some type of regulation behind it, either sweepstakes, promo, gaming, or something like that, and that all flows through the NGC. So I don't know if that's accurate, but again, I'm not a lawyer.
I would bet I would do a 5 hour side bet with you that they can't stop Coke or Budweiser from making that same promotion.
I
And
bet
they
they
would
could.
not have to go through Nevada Gaming.
I bet they could.
My guy, they push global poker out of Nevada, and it's not even like in our jurisdiction. Yeah, they have pretty big oversight here.
Well, maybe yeah, but that's because they're global poker's a gaming thing.
A sweepstakes.
Coca-Cola
A
and
sweepstakes.
Budweiser, they're not throwing Coke or Budweiser out of Nevada.
But it's a sweepstakes covered under gaming.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is they had an effect on something in the live gaming environment. Trust me, the state would have a big opinion on that.
Yeah, they would, but I don't think they can. I don't think they have the jurisdiction to stop that.
$5 bet booked.
All right. You look into it. I'll look into it on my end.
All right. I want both of you to report back to us. I just want to let everybody know that the Orleans and South Point both have a new schedule for poker starting tomorrow. So double check the apps or their websites for those new schedules. Go ahead, Sean.
I hate to be this guy, but I'm sure you covered it earlier. What events can I play in town today? I want to play something maybe $500 or under, maybe 1,000 or no, 500. I don't want to spend a lot. I want to play some poker today. You know, the best way to learn this game is to sit in the middle of you mutants. I'll tell you.
All right, you asked for it because we haven't covered it yet, and this is actually Fats's favorite part of my show. So over at the Win at 12 o'clock is a $600 no limit tournament, 50K guarantee. At 1,800 hours is a turbo $600 buy-in, 50K guarantee. Over at the Venetian main event, 1C at 1110, 5K guarantee. 5K buy-in, $4 million guarantee. Over at the Aria, which I know you can't play there, but we're still going to let everybody know at 1 o'clock is a mystery bounty, $1,100 buy-in, 250K guarantee. Don't forget, final table lists get one of those amazing hoodies at the Aria. Over at Resorts World, there's a $200 no limit tournament at 12:05, and again at 1,905 hours. $200 buy-in, 5K guarantee. At the Orleans, there's a $300 buy-in, 11 o'clock starting time, 100K guarantee. And a Big O tournament at 1,800 hours at the Orleans, $240 buy-in, 10K guarantee. And I really need to talk about at South Point, I'm just going to go over their tomorrow's schedule because they've added Crazy Pineapple, which I'm excited. So hopefully they'll still be doing it on Mondays when I get into town next time. But at 10 a.m., there's a no limit tournament tomorrow, $120 buy-in. 2:10 is a Crazy Pineapple tournament, $120 buy-in. 6:10 p.m. is a Mega Stack, $120 buy-in. And at 10:10 p.m. tomorrow night at South Point is a No Limit Turbo Bounty tournament. So I wanted to let everybody know just because they've added a Crazy Pineapple, and they're actually going to do a Crazy Pineapple twice a week. So there'll be a 10:10 p.m. on Friday night's Crazy Pineapple tournament over at South Point. So I like that they're mixing it up. Did you find one of interest on my list there, Sean?
I think I'm definitely going to have to go to the Poker Atlas to look them over individually. But no, the information was great. Some of them sound like really cool events. And shout out to Aria. I know you mentioned them. Yes, of course, I can't play there, but man, their one-day events have been massive. Like I couldn't even
Yes.
dreamt up how big they're. Yesterday's 1,600, not yesterday's. Geez, what are we now? Sunday. God, I think it was Thursday, 1,600, had like 711 players in it or something. Like just for a random one day, 500K guarantee. Like the events have been so massive. This has been a great summer. I hope everybody else, I hope all of you guys had a good summer too.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, it's been such a great summer over at the Aria, MGM, Venetian, the Win, um, Orleans, even over at the Horseshoe. That it's screwing up my fantasy team because people are, instead of playing at the WSOP, are going to all these other great events and cashing over there. And I need them to be at the WSOP earning me points selfishly for my fantasy team. So quit doing such a great job over there, Sean McCormack.
And
Excuse me,
shout out
our
to,
fantasy team.
go ahead, Faz.
Our fantasy team. There's 10 of us on that team.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I was just gonna say, shout out to all the operators who had guarantees and on their events this summer. We love guarantees, guys. Do some of them need to be fine tuned next summer? Sure, you'll probably see some tweaking. Some will go up, some will stay the same. Some might even go down. You know what I mean, based off what you guys tell us by the volumes. But if we put it out there, guys, let's keep paying these things because it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. And
I'm
shout
in
out.
29. Oops, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. And shout out to those folks honoring those guarantees because that's important too. Go ahead, Bobby.
I'm in 29th place in that little fantasy thing. That's with 2 players who didn't have a single point up until last
Holy
week.
shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good,
Yeah,
but man,
Team
what could have
Spacers.
been?
Well, of course, Team Spacers has been as high as like 37 or 31, and we've been in the top 100 the whole time, except maybe the last 10 days or so. And now we're just outside of the money, right? What did I say? Around 125. So hopefully, the next couple of days, there's some tournaments that I know some of our players are going to be in. So hopefully, we'll get enough points to catapult us into the money. Ryan Robb, welcome to the panel. Come on, buddy. Ryan Robb? Does he show as a speaker for you guys? He might be having issues.
I don't see him at all.
Okay, he may be going out and coming back in. I see.
Sean, where are you going to go?
4?
Poker today.
Oh, I haven't decided yet. I don't know.
Or is this one of those things where you decide not to and then you go grind blackjack and slots and all the other shit?
Oh, so I have to admit, video poker, like I was on a downswing for like 9 months of just like never, I won't overextend myself. But man, the last 3 weeks has been fun. I'll just put it that way. I mean, I hit a big royal. I hit a 7 spot in Keno. I hit Shockwave. I even posted that online. It's been fun for sure.
I
And
won't overextend myself. How do you extend yourself with that salary?
Woo! And I see Reno is down there in the goop. If you want to come and tell us about your main event experience, we would love it. And congratulations on such a great run. Reno finished 93rd in the main event for 85,000. So congrats to you, Reno. If you want to come up and give us some insights to your experience, we would love it. Ryan Robb, welcome to the panel, my friend.
Hey, what's up, Sherry? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Go ahead, buddy.
I had some weird Twitter stuff going on the interstate. So I got something for Sean, but first of all, Jaman, if you're still there, I agree with John, man. Some of the best vlogs ever on YouTube. Love it. Definitely appreciate your work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Fats. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fats, I'm so glad you went ape shit on McDonald's because I have sometimes refused to pull forward with no cars behind me just to make their metrics look better. So screw them. I'm on board, man. And Sean, I got a great idea for you, man. One of the biggest problems with poker is when you're sitting at the table and you fold a marginal hand and you would have hit a full house or something and you get a bad beat and you just got to deal with that bent up frustration because you don't want to let everybody tilt. So there needs to be a room on the side that you can go in with punching bags and just beat the
A padded
shit out of a
cell.
punching bag, and have a ring in there. So if two players decide that they just want to go in the ring and put some big fluffy gloves on and beat the shit out of each other, they can do that and not get hurt. I think that would be awesome for every poker room.
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm googling if mutual combat is legal in Nevada. Hold on 1 second. This might be a brilliant idea.
Hell yes. Hell
Unfortunately, you would think of all places that it would be, but unfortunately, Nevada does not have a specific law on legalized mutual combat. So you can't just say yes and fight in the streets. But I guess if we sanction it with like the boxing commission or something, yeah, you might be onto something. No, of course we can't do that. But that man, I would love that idea.
That's
the punching
hilarious.
bag. Look, the punching bags
What
are
do they
great. There
call
were several times, and I've wanted
those rooms where you can go and smash things? What are they
rage rooms.
rage
Called
rooms?
rage
Yeah,
rooms.
yeah.
Padded cells.
That's it, man. That's it. You could even charge $1 or $10 to get in. You would make a fortune. Several days on the poker table, I would love to go in there and just beat the shit out of something, and then come back, and then I'm good.
That's
Make it
hilarious.
like a VR thing where you can pick your poker player opponent to box against or something with like, I'm so old school. I'm thinking like the Wii style controllers. I don't know what they have today. I'm sure it's all like VR and who knows what and AI or whatever.
So instead of the Shark Tank, we're going to do a boxing ring. I like it,
Yeah,
Ryan.
look, this space is This space is recorded, so Sean, if you make millions off of this shit, I need royalties. No question.
100%. You're in. You're at the bottom floor.
So if you act like Kassouf, you got to look more like Foxen. Is that where we're going with this?
Yes, on behalf of women everywhere.
I mean, I'm sure you guys know this, but that Alex Foxen, he is a big dude, man. He is not a small guy.
How tall is he?
He is a
Alex,
big guy.
he's probably an inch or two taller than me, so he's probably 6'3". I'm gonna guess. I don't know. Maybe he's my height. I can't. But he's big. He's like a big dude. Like he's just one of these. And I know everybody knows he played football, but like he's just so wide bodied. Like his back
That's
and his
what it
shoulder.
is.
It's just he's. And you know who else?
He's
Bobby, you know who else weirdly reminded me that, and this is just gonna be a name drop, but Ben Affleck. And obviously he's Batman, but you don't realize how big that dude is until you're standing beside him and you're like, what the hell do you eat, my dude?
Big old wide shoulders. It's like, God, it takes you fucking 30 seconds to walk around them with those big
And
ass
and
shoulders.
and we're two dudes that are big shouldered. And like we look at these dudes and we're like, what the fuck? Like they're just I don't know. He's just a big dude. Like I wouldn't mess with him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, wasn't there
Oh my
like a
God.
poker night in America that was like jocks versus nerds or something where I
Yes.
like Dentelli was definitely on the jock side, and I forget who else was in that lineup.
You know what? I want to go back to content houses for a minute. Wasn't it last summer that somebody tried to do um, I think it was last summer, a new content house? I don't remember who it was. And I remember Lexi Gavin was going to be, she was one of the hostesses. And they had a live feed table, and we saw.
Wasn't that
Oh,
Poker Night in America's house?
was it?
that was Poker Night in America.
Thank you. And that was a brand new setup and it didn't go over well. So going back to that poker content and doing stuff that people want to watch, I thought that was going to be a great venue and show, and it just didn't take off. I was disappointed. Go ahead, Fats.
Doesn't Rob Clown have the Pontus pad?
They didn't do it anymore. They didn't do it this year.
Yeah, this is a little off topic. I was just wondering, did they ever announce what the story was with the missing Japanese poker player other than he was found?
No.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
not dead. Who cares? Happy story. He's not dead.
Hookers and cocaine.
Someone that I think maybe is like close to him or represents him in some way put out a post that basically said in the future we'll let everybody know like what actually happened, kind of thing, which isn't our story to be even heard, but if they want to tell it, let them tell it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
kind of
had
agree
seen
with
that.
Bobby a little bit. Like let's take the win that he's safe and sound. Like let's take that.
I had
Yeah.
seen that,
And
so I thought something was coming shortly,
yeah,
but apparently not.
I think it was just a, hey, he's home. We're glad. Let's move on. Honestly, and I'm good with that because it's more important that he's back safe and sound than us having to know what happened.
And can I
Like we're
say
just
real
not that
real quick,
informed.
Sherry? Can I say just like I really believe this is important. Like when you come to Vegas, like have a travel accountability buddy if you can, even if it's someone that you can get on the phone to talk to every day or something like that. Like if it's your first trip to Vegas, like this city can swallow you up if you don't know somebody or something going. Like it's just a tough city. Like you can get stuck in the it's 4 a.m. Next thing you know, you're on the roof of Caesar's Palace and you're there for 7 days or however the story and hangover goes. But you know what I'm saying? Like just have somebody. It doesn't have to be
Well,
here. A lot of dudes take trips and ladies take trips alone to Vegas. That does happen. But have somebody you can talk to every day to kind of normalize you away from Vegas for even 30 minutes just to like clear your head and stuff like that.
well, and I would suggest, and it's not just when you go to Vegas, when you go on any vacation, let somebody be your, what is it, tracker. Let them track you on your phone. I don't know what the technical terms are, but you can give somebody access so that they can track you when you're out of town, and that when you have your phone with you, they know where you're at all the time, and that's kind of a good safety feature. You don't have to leave it on when you go back home. You could shut it off, whatever. but I think it's a great tool to use when you're traveling.
Yeah, and what Sean said, that's true. You got to really be careful because to this day, in the sports betting community, we still have no idea whatever happened to sweet old Bob. But that story will be in my book.
All righty. I am trying to look at the chat really great. I'm trying to look really quickly. Um, because I try to get into this chat so we don't miss anybody's questions. And sometimes I forget because we just are so busy chatting with each other. But I will say, J-Man, people want me to interview you. So I hope you have some time available and will let me do that sometime. I do,
Yeah, go for it.
I
That's
do it on
anytime.
Friday nights, typically at 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific time. And because I've been doing the daily coverage, I haven't been doing my Friday nights, but I'll be getting back to those here in a week or two. So I will definitely be reaching out. Well, thank you. I
Sounds good.
appreciate you. Go ahead, Bobby.
Just a couple of things. Back to Alex Foxen. One of my favorite clips in poker ever is when Foxen was doing his thing where he stares dead at you or whatever. And he wins a pot, and this little kind of fake thugged out kid looks at him and is like, "Hey man, don't be staring at me like that." And Foxen just looks at him and goes, "Or what?" And this kid is like fucking 5'9", 150 pounds, and Alex just goes, "Or what?" And now, as far as the content house thing goes, remember that Poker Night in America house was this big old fucking lavish mansion, 8 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. Don't you want to see like 5 people in a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom with one on the couch with a poker dealer, a guy who plays super high stakes, and then 3 mid stakes people, and they have to go and do confessionals and shit like that and talk about how bad they're running. And of course, there's going to be a guy who drinks too much, and I think that would be fantastic
I,
content
You
wise
got to
for.
get Kessler in there.
I definitely like the punter pad kind of show for sure. That you just throw a bunch of people in a house and I do like different levels of players because I think that appeals to different level of a viewer as far as their own game levels. So I do love that kind of thing. Ryan Rob, you had your hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, back on the Foxen thing, I think another one of the funniest things is I think it was last year when the rock hit the window on the strip or something, and everybody thought it was an active shooter, and the poker room went crazy, people flipping tables over, and D-Negs falls down and scrapes his knuckles. And on his vlog the next day, he told the story of when Foxen was running back in the other way against the stream to go get Chrissy, and he said, "That's a real man right there. That's a real man." That was the funniest damn thing.
It really was funny. The situation wasn't funny, but the videos that came from it, that people,
That was
yeah, that one
hilarious.
was a good one.
And hey, yeah, and hey, Sherry, we'd love to see Jaman interview. And I've been working on him, but Jaman definitely has a line to him. But we'd love to hear a Trooper interview also. Trooper, one of the OGs. So Jaman, see if you can get him on there with you, man.
Cooper is the OG. No
And he
debate.
can promote his candy business. It'd be great.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for those suggestions. We will definitely get something booked for sure. I would love that. As you guys know, I love doing those segments.
It's the trooper.
Hell yeah, OG.
Hey, Sean, you might remember this. Who put on back in the day? I'm talking 15 years ago. Who did 10? Was it 10 days, 10 million, 30 days, 10 million with the kids in the house all playing online? Who did that?
2
Who
months, 2
produced it?
million. Yeah.
2
Yeah,
months,
2
2
months, 2 million
million.
is the show. But you're asking who produced the show?
Yeah, do you know? Like, that was fantastic. I think it was just before its time.
Oh, definitely before his time, and it was really cool. No, I don't know who was. I don't know who the money behind that was, or or who produced the show. Yeah, it wasn't any of like the modern
But
poker producers.
yeah, that seems like an awesome premise and incredibly cheap, both at the exact same time.
I think that might have just been G4, but I'll take a look at it.
I'm trying to look it up now as we speak. Created by Brandon
Also,
Rose.
while we're talking, I think on every live stream, the players should have to wear heart rate monitors that you can see on the screen.
So that was done before on a show. The heart rate monitor thing.
Yeah.
I think it was called like the Poker Dome or something like that. Yeah, that was an old show though. I mean, like talk about before its time. I want to say that was like 03, 04 or something like that, like way back.
What was the Berkey production when they were wearing the blindfolds? That was a good show. You could learn a lot watching those reruns.
Are you talking about the one where they wear the
Poker
head?
out loud.
Yeah, Poker Out Loud.
Yes, Poker Out Loud. That is, I highly recommend people go back and watch those episodes. You can learn a lot. Go ahead, Barry.
Wait, there was one with blindfolds?
Yes, yes. Poker Out Loud. I highly recommend you watch it, ASG, and let me know what you think. Go ahead, Barry.
Is it?
Oh, sorry.
No, you sure it's blindfold, Sherry? I think it's just
Or
headphones.
headphones. You're right, not
It's
blindfolds.
headphones.
I said,
Yeah, I was about
yeah,
to
how are you going to
say,
see the damn
Sherry, that's
cards? I said
revolutionary. Like, you got to
blindfolds.
explain that one to me,
Come
lady.
on, you guys, catch my mistakes. I love it. I meant to say headphones. Thank you, thank you. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was 2003, 2004. They had something called the $1 Million Showdown at the Sands in Atlantic City, and it was filmed, and they had people hooked up to the heart rate also. So you can look for that if you want to see some
Okay,
old time
so when
footage.
they had them hooked up, could the other people see their heart rates then?
No, I
No,
think that
just
was
the
just for
TV.
yeah. That was Gus won that one, right?
John Young.
Well, didn't Gus win something on the Super Bowl or some shit
Oh,
back
I don't
when
remember.
poker was in its massive where it was everywhere and they're trying to find spots for it. They had something like immediately either before or after the Super Bowl that Gus won too. I don't know. Whatever. Love you all.
I think in a
Hey,
recent blog, DePaulo called Gus Hansen the Nick Airball of the 2000s.
oh my God, that's amazing. ASG, you were correct about the 2 months, 2 million. It was just G4 Media, and all the funding came from the players. So there, from what I can read here, nothing like no online poker site or anything like that had any influence or anything. It was literally just all the players, their money, and making their own content. And again, that's why we're talking about it today because it was organic. It wasn't like this corporate whatever. Let you guys I'm telling you, when I get to tell you guys in the next 6 months what we're cooking up on my side, and I can't talk about it just yet, it's about working with you guys more so than us telling you what a show is supposed to be like. It's going to be cool stuff.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait.
I'm the
Let's.
worst. You know I want to give it up right here too and just blab it all out. I'm the worst.
Well,
Do it.
all right. So something.
Dana, stop it.
Wait, Dana. Work with me, Dana. Okay, Sean. So something new's coming about. Is it in Vegas or around the world or all of the above?
You aren't putting me in the interviewee chair. Are you nuts?
Dana kind of cut us off at the pass, but Dana, you got to just work with me here and let me take the bull by the horns.
Sherry's over there pulling on her, tugging on her ear, giving baseball signals. Wait. Don't, I got this. I got this.
Exactly. Oh, so Sean, when is that going to roll out? When's the big announcement?
I'm hopeful in the next 3 to 6 months. It won't be too long. We should have an announcement before the end of 25.
That's
But
exciting.
yeah, it's just cool. It's like working with content creators and creating just like a new type of, just hearing from you guys and telling stories and stuff like that. But yeah, when we roll it out, it will. What I'm saying will make sense.
Love it.
Mr. Poker Boss, are you running something during the Christmas holidays like last year?
You mean like the Aria event, like the winter event?
Winter
I
Classic.
can't call it winter.
The Winter Classic.
It's not winter though. We didn't call it that because winter doesn't start until the event is over. But I think we just call it the Aria. I don't know what we called it, but yes, we will be looking into bringing back some type of events in December. Obviously, we want to see where the dust settles a little bit with the big two. Obviously, GG made a big announcement already, but seeing what WPT and Win are cooking up, and then like I said, we're not going to work against those two entities because that would just hurt the player base. We're going to work in a way that makes sense for us and just brings more. More diversity of offerings to the table.
So when does your live feed table start?
For what?
I don't know. Content creation.
I mean, you're trying here.
I am. You can't be mad at a girl for trying.
Hey, all your rooms are vlogger friendly though, right?
Yes. So all of our rooms now are, we're friendly to vloggers and stuff like that. Everybody off the street now is a vlogger in our mind. So if you want to vlog at one of our properties, all we ask is that you check in with a shift manager. Basically, we don't want you to set up a camera on a table. We want to support you. So if you just walk up to a table, you might put the other players at, like a little standoffish. So we want to tell the story with and say, hey, John has approved to do this. He's going to be facing this towards his whole cards and stuff like that. None of your guys' faces are going to be in it. And then we're going to work with you guys on finding tables that actually make sense where we can show faces of players if they're willing to and stuff like that. That might face a back wall or something that doesn't face it. So we're thinking all of this stuff out. But yes, poker and slots now, you can just pretty much show up to our property. Slots, you can just walk up and just start filming. Again, just don't film anybody else's faces. But in poker, we just want you to check in so that we can support you at the table and say, hey, this is approved. And we let the eye in the sky know and everybody's cool.
You know
I
what?
know.
Just be like when we say allegedly, I'll add in we're permitted by law.
I just know that a local Caesar's property, like you have to fill out a big form and then wait for them to get back to you. So it was kind of like I live in the middle of nowhere, so we only have limited options. But
And I think that will get better. Like I said, we just got better with this. We had the form up until like 3 months ago. And then, we noticed one, the volume of people that ask for slots in poker is like a millionfold table games. So table games, we still do have a form that you have to fill out. There is an approval process. It does take about 2 weeks in table games, but for the rest of the casino, like I said, we're pretty vlogger friendly. You come in, like I said, the only thing we ask, check in. And in poker, I say this, but I laugh. I say this to the regulators because they want to hear this, but we as poker players know this never happened. But you can't record your whole cards live, guys. I laugh at the regular. They're like, live recording is not permitted in poker. I said, yeah, on TV. No, like John Roberts is not at the table recording his whole card so you can see him live on Twitch and get a read on across the table. That's not how poker works. Like, this is me getting frustrated for you guys. Like, yeah, sure, I'm streaming my whole cards live so someone can across the table could see what I have. That's not how this works. But anyways,
I do have to share one of the most hilarious stories is I was playing at a table with a guy who was vlogging and he was actively speaking what he had into his microphone, but like he thought he was quiet enough that like no one heard him, but we all heard his cards every single time. It was absolutely hilarious.
I've actually only seen one content creator like film live, and he's the person, the reason why I have to have that rule in and that asterisk and all of that. But like and it was here in Vegas, and I'm not going to say what property it was, not an MGM property. And he was recording his whole cards live because he was in a game that they wanted, like everybody in the game knew each other, so there was trust and all that. And I'm doing little air quotes here, but that's still not good. We can't do that. But yeah, they were just trying to build an audience, and obviously, I get it. I wish poker could be in real time because the content would be even better if we all saw it at the same time and people didn't spoil it on Twitter with the delay and get the story out there before everybody else does. But there's just no way to. And also what we could do, if we could do it live, we could do side bets with you guys. Like, you guys could bet on red black, all that stuff. You could have bets between each other, but you can't do it. If anybody can figure this out besides locking people in a jail cell and taking their cell phones away, I am open to hear it, but there's just no way to do it.
I mean, that extends to other stuff too, though. Like I organized esports for all of our state of Indiana, and like you have to put all the streams on a 30-minute delay, or otherwise people are stream sniping. So It's not just poker.
Sure. But like on the opposite side of the coin, in table games, when you record live. So you're really interacting with your chat in real time, which I understand is really cool. Just like slots guys, Vegas Matt and all those other guys. A lot of that stuff you see on YouTube and stuff was edited and canned for whatever, but they do that in real time. They're talking live to their audience while they're originally doing it, which is really, really cool. They can say, hey, thanks for being a fan, yada, 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 and literally talk to that person, which has so much value. We see it in Twitch, we see it on Kick, we see it on other platforms. There's a massive amount of value to be able to live talk to someone. But again, in poker, we just can't do it. But we're going to get creative with other cool ways to make this content what it needs to be.
Oh, I love that. Go ahead, Bobby.
I just want to say I got a bunch of sports and shit to watch, but very good conversation today. This was fun. I'm not around nowhere near as much as I used to be, but I just wanted to say this was a lot of fun. Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Sherry, ASG. Sean, always a pleasure to talk to you. Uncle Barry, I love you. Stay healthy. J-Man, can't wait for the interview. John Robertson, Sophie Cunningham is much more attractive than Caitlin Clark. Just wanted you to know that. I hope everybody
She's
has
having a great game right now.
Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Be good. Be nice. See you later.
Here's the
Thanks,
run this
Bobby.
guy. Here's the run this guy.
Here's the run this guy. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate you.
That's how you guys know it's a good conversation. I stopped in the middle of a fever game to come back.
Well, duh. We always have good conversations.
Well, I know, but it's really good today. I'm picking it over a fever game. You guys know how important that is to me.
It's very important. He's got the fever.
It's so good, it's gooder.
It's gooder. It's gooder.
Well, the fever are the goodest, right? So, yeah.
I just need to give a little shout out to those that are going to be on the main event final table SWAC team. Wolfie, Isaac, Blue, Dana, Redonkulus, Donkey, Modfather, Michael, and myself, just for those that were curious as to who ended up being on that team. And we will do a drawing as soon as we get down to 9 players at the main event. So just wanted to get that out there, folks. All right. Anybody got anything else they want to bring up? Now's the time. I'm going to go around the horn. Exec deck.
I'm good. Thanks for the space as usual. Very entertaining. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great day.
Appreciate you, exec deck. Appreciate you. J-Man, anything you'd like to bring up or?
No, I think I'm all good.
Appreciate you, and I'll be reaching out to you in about a week. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. John Robertson.
No, just good conversation today. As always, the only way we can solve problems is to talk about them in a respectful way. So thanks for giving us the opportunity, Sherry.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Ryan Robb. He's on the road, so he may not have reception. We'll see if he clicks in here in a minute. Barry Levy.
All good. Thanks for having me. See you tomorrow or next week or Monday or whenever.
Appreciate you. See you tomorrow, buddy. Real Fats.
Yeah, I just wanted to say good show again today, good conversation, and respectfully, I really appreciate all Barry's comments. I thought he was spot on today.
Sean McCormack, anything you'd like to bring up, add, or comment?
How do I follow that up? I guess respectfully, I'm going to go play some poker today. And if you play today, in the immortal words of our great dear friend Mike Sexton, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters.
Amen. Shout out to the great Mike. Dana.
Hey, I was going to say that. Happy Sunday and good luck at the Feld, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. ASG.
Yeah, I don't think Sean was up, so I just wanted to see if he had any ideas for the one chip behind all in. Like, should we be giving more power to the dealers to call clock, or like how you think we might be able to solve this? Because the table has like almost an incentive to not call clock.
Did you just reopen a conversation in the middle of Sherry's close?
Yes,
Well,
he
I just
always.
wanted to see
No,
if you
that's
personally
no,
had an opinion
no.
because we were talking about it before.
And for the record, it's
I'm
okay.
calling the clock right now in ASC.
It's okay because that's why I do around the horn so we can tidy up any unfinished business or bring up something new. So that's okay, Sean, but I appreciate that. Go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. I did give my opinion on the whole one chip thing earlier. If we want to change the rule, we have to change the rule. But as it states right now, there's nothing wrong with what someone is doing, holding the chip back from a rule standpoint. Now, from God, what's the best word here for spirit of the game? I guess it feels a little off. But again, then we have to change the rule because again, there's nothing stopping a basketball player waiting 23.9 seconds before making a shot every time. You can use the whole shot clock. It's within the rules. So you can bet everything but one chip. It's within the rules, but I don't see how we would ever change that, except that we have to. I think one thing we can say is we have to make it clearer if you're making this move, that other one chip better be damn visible to the table. Because even pros are falling for this and flipping their hand up. By the way, don't flip your damn hands up until the dealers tell you to. No one can make you act like it was showdown except the dealer. Stop saying like, oh, he bet about one chip and I flipped my hand. Well, then you flipped your hand over. Pay attention. Wait for the dealer to say showdown. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's not. Slow down. Everybody should take one extra step. But yeah, I'm supportive of it until we make a rule saying that something that this is wrong in some way, which I don't know how we do.
And Michael
I have
Mizuraki
a
fell
quick
for that.
question for Sean on that.
Michael Mizuraki fell for that the other day. Go ahead, Fats.
Sean, in a case like that where the pro doesn't see the chip and exposes it and turns their hand over, would you ever consider giving the person who exposed their hand prematurely a penalty because they didn't see that one chip there?
Almost never in this scenario.
Which is why I never ever went back to the Commerce. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hey, Sean, you hit the nail on the head a little while ago.
Oh, and
From a
why Max
Wait a
Pescastori
minute.
should be
Wait a
deported.
minute. Can you hear Ryan Fats? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, it's no problem. No, Sean, you hit the nail on the head a little while ago, and you brought up the word integrity. So I'm a baseball umpire on the way to umpire a Nationals week-long tournament right now, and in baseball and softball, a lot of the rules are just to protect the integrity of the game. When in the gray area rules like that, like there's nothing that says a coach can't call timeout to go talk to his pitcher to waste 5 minutes because he's winning at the end of a game and there's 6 minutes left. But the umpire has to make sure it's reasonable, right? When high school kids go crazy and they start bowing up to each other, you can't let it happen. There's zero tolerance now in high school for coaches going ape shit crazy. There's a zero tolerance policy. You're gone. You rush on the field of an umpire, you're out, right? So you're right. You're on the right track, but it's the integrity of the game, right? You stalling just the shot clock is a great idea, and if it's a different duration shot clock at a different time in the tournament, maybe that's the key. But it's all about the integrity of game. You were on the right track before.
Yeah, I agree. Or I guess I agree with myself. But yeah, I mean, we're going to figure this out with the technology too. And WSOP is going to lead the way. That's why I always salute what they do over there. I never, obviously I can be critical of other operators in a respectful way, just like I would be critical of myself. And I think they do a damn good job. There were some things this year from a player standpoint that we're going to all be discussing for some time. But if they're throwing down these iPads on all these tables and everything, maybe we just come back with shot clocks all the time. But it gets really hard, man. It's just because like not everywhere can do that. So it's like
Right.
but that's not WSOP's problem.
Right.
If they're leading the way, then the rest of us need to figure it out. And I'm not worried about us so much. I'm worried about the local card rooms and just the game being differently played in different places where it's kind of really relatively the same right now. But again, that's not WSOP's problem. The game needs to evolve. They're going to lead the charge. We're going to be right behind them, supporting like a lot of what their changes they're doing, especially in the tech space, making sure you guys, they set the bar this year when we need to keep the bar where it is, regardless of where everybody else in poker is.
Yeah, and I definitely see shot clocks on those iPads. We talked about that the other day, being like the next step. Go ahead, Dana.
So I think Poker Stars and the European Poker Tour are leading the way right now. They've been trying new stuff. I remember 10 years ago when they just started talking about bringing in um, time chips, and it was quite the uproar and polarizing. And now we're talking about even more implementation of shot clocks and time chips and that kind of thing. They're diminishing the levels time as they progress through the tournaments. They're also introducing time chips later in the tournaments as well. And then when it comes to final table, if not top three, they're kind of playing around with having a certain number of hands per level. And anyway, I don't know if any or all of you didn't know that, but I think they're kind of messing around, playing with new ideas already.
Well, I don't agree with every table has to play a certain amount of hands in a level. I won't. I don't think I would ever agree to that.
It does away with the tanking and that kind of thing, but also from what I understand, it's only at the final table.
Well, speaking of let's say highlighted tables, we haven't discussed the WSOP main event today because I really wanted to, discuss the other things that we had been discussing. But I do want to give a shout out to Kenny Hallier, who is leading the way again today into the main event, and he has 61 million in his chip stack, and Braxton Dunaway has 51 million. And congratulations on some great play at the main event. Michael Mizuraki fell down to 20th place with 11.4 million, as did Sebastian Schultz. I think it's Schulze. He's down to 9.7 million. Of course, he was a chip leader at one point in time, but I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to those folks that are still in it to win it. There are 24 people left in that main event. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So I'm going to go ahead and end the space, you guys. I appreciate everybody joining us. Love the discussion as always. Love to hear the opinions um, and definitely the points of view and so on and so forth. Appreciate you guys listening.
Hey,
Yes.
Sherry, before you go, Jaman, if you're still there, man, in the next vlog, we have to have a cartoon Kassouf character, some rolled in there some kind of a way, dude.
That'd be pretty funny.
That would be funny. That would be funny. Appreciate all of you and those that'll listen at a future date. I appreciate you as well. If you're on the felt today, good luck. If not, get off of social media, go touch the grass, be with your loved ones. Don't forget those dogs need long walks too. So have a great day, everybody, and thank you bunches.